Hi, I'm Don Jorgler, editor of Claims Journal. Thank you for joining us for Claims Journal's podcast. This regular video series on all things claims related is just one of several ongoing changes here at Claims Journal. We've launched a website redesign, beefed up our coverage of how AI and technology are transforming claims departments around the world, and we're now bringing you a steady stream of expert-written insight on trends and best practices in written and video formats. Stay tuned, there's more to come. This episode is brought to you by EagleView. EagleView offers accurate roof measurements, property data, and aerial images to help adjusters process claims accurately and quickly. Learn how EagleView helps property adjusters reduce cycle times and close more claims by visiting eagleview.com/insurance. I'm here with Rob Evans, Director of Claim Process Technology with Broadspire. Hey, Rob, thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, before we get started, tell us a little bit about what you do there at Broadspire.
Yeah, so I'm blending the 25 years that I've been at Broadspire. I had started as an adjuster. I was a team manager, account executive. I worked in and led our consulting analytics practice for a while. And most recently, what I've been doing is working on trying to blend all this together to really help out the adjusters do an efficient and high quality job that gives those quality outcomes our clients are looking for.
Well, great. It's a lot to do. So of course you deal with claims, and I know the claims profession itself has been dealing with a lot of change lately, with some of the streamlining going on and the use of AI. Then there's also this retirement cliff among seasoned adjusters. How is this all playing out, and where do you see things going?
Overall, turnover has returned to pre-COVID levels, like single digits. So that's positive. We do see staffing changes due to retirements, but as well, we're also seeing adjusters moving to, say, like the broker or carrier side, being promoted to account executives or just unfortunately leaving the industry. And so, of course, all the while expectations from customers, claimants, regulators are increasing. So this has really highlighted the importance of things like early career recruitment, training, cross-training, upskilling, those things that help with succession planning, being really intentional about encouraging a work-life balance, and also this partnering with clients. So it's okay, let me say a little bit more about each of those points there. It's been exciting to spread awareness to this new generation, these early career folks, about the ability to work in a profession where you get to help restore and enhance lives, businesses, and communities. That sense of purpose that you're working for something bigger than just a job has been a big selling point. And so it's been fascinating just to see those who are already in the industry referring friends and relatives. So quick shout out to my two sons, George and Frank, who have joined the adjusting profession, early career.
Great.
There's a good portion of work that's being done as work from home. So it's important to have a strong culture of learning and training. That's really helping not only the early career folks progress, but also making sure the seasoned staff remains current with the latest changes, and to continually replace some of that institutional knowledge as we do see some of those retirements. So we want to make sure there's not that knowledge loss, that have some knowledge transfer. And even more than that, just building that sense of community is even more important when you're not maybe in the office every day together. Another thing in this profession is, and you've covered this, I think, over the past year, some of your articles about burnout in the profession. And so it's really important to remind employees to leverage things like their employee assistance program benefits, as well as actually taking the vacation they've earned. There's people tend to be so driven in this line of work, and it's important to take some time so you don't burn out. I had mentioned earlier too the importance of what we're seeing as far as just how far it goes when our clients see this as a partnership, and they just take that couple minutes to recognize adjusters for some of the great work that's being done. Those small compliments go so far. in helping just re-energize people. And so what we've been doing on the technology side is the claim process automation makes a lot of sense for routine, low complexity type tasks to take some of that administrative work off the adjusters, while really just finding ways to apply some of the really novel and exciting things that AI is bringing that we can help infuse the decision-making process for adjusters. And so, we've taken great care to be intentional about data integrity, because when you pair that with some of the technology solutions out there, you come up with some really great solutions. Let me give you one quick example. So we have this litigation predictive model where we can queue up a notice to the adjuster to take a second look. There's this inflection point in claims where the right intervention at the right time can change the entire trajectory of the claim. And so the adjuster decides that for this potential litigated claim, there's an opportunity to, say, assign maybe a field nurse to provide that white glove service to an anxious, uncertain, injured worker. And it ends up that this keeps things moving forward, timely, appropriate treatment, benefits continue without the complication of litigation. We did a control study on this, in fact, and found that for the active group, close to a $5,000 net savings and 6% improvement in closure. So we're finding some real win-win situations as, that litigation predictive model that can be going to an early career person or a seasoned person or anywhere in between. But just finding these ways to have technology help everybody has been really exciting part of what I've been able to be engaged with.
Hey, you mentioned a lot there. I mean, training was one that I noticed that people had called out for more of. In the reporting I've done, that's been the one spot. But you also mentioned another thing as far as workloads and caseloads. So let's get into caseloads and some important aspects of how much adjusters are holding down, whether they're balanced. Can you talk about that?
So at a high level, what I'm seeing on the comp side is a really strong closing ratio, while on the liability side, it's facing some headwinds from an increase in litigation, in particular bodily injury type claims. An unbalanced caseload is something you want to prevent for sure. But unfortunately, it occurs from time to time. And so one thing with the recruitment of the early career people that's been encouraging is, they've been building up their caseload over time rather than just having to jump straight into an inventory. But as they get through their training and some ongoing experience, that's one way that's been effective for essentially providing a relief valve to help out any adjusters where maybe their caseloads are creeping up, but as they've resolved some claims and there's some less complex things, they can transfer those to this other resource. Another thing that's really vital in all of this is you've got to make sure that you've got some kind of ongoing centralized view so that you've got objective data that you're talking about. And so we have this thing called a command center where there's key information such as, current pending, month to date new, reopen, closure numbers. Also, supplementing that with a closure tool, maybe if there's an opportunity to see if there's some subset where there's some interventions that, again, can help just level set and keep those caseloads in balance. And earlier when we were talking about burnout, as I was just touching base with some of the different service centers and talking, it was so encouraging to hear about, life hits you sometimes. And so just to hear about the teaming of whether it's a coworker or offices with like a floating adjuster, or even some of the resources like team managers, claim directors, service center managers pitching in to give an extra hand when that's needed. Again, when either life hits you or there's some kind of unexpected surge in activity, It's really important to have that culture of teamwork.
As far as complaints, or outliers, how do you contextualize these with objective data that kind of tells a fuller story? I mean, I know things are going to fall through the cracks, even with AI, right?
Yeah. I wish I could jump in a time machine with some of the tools we have now. Because I remember whether as a team manager or account executive, you get those complaints and you want to be objective about it. And so one of the things that we're working on is we feel it's super important to have transparency in the adjuster metrics. That's really kind of the core at what clients are paying for in terms of adjusting services. So, but things more than just the standard 3-point contacts and current pending and closure ratio. Imagine a view into scores around reserving, action plans, ongoing activity. So let's take ongoing activity as an example. If you could drill in as the client to, you got a complaint and you want to see, well, how often is the adjuster in general, like in their files? And how often are they staying in contact with the claimants? So, that gives this like quick and easy way to tell, is this a one-off or is this a pattern for intervention? Now, of course, while the client would be able to validate this, we, with that command center I was talking about, want to stay ahead of that and make sure that caseloads are balanced and looking at some of those metrics ourselves so that you can keep that as more the one-off variety. But either way, having objective data to help contextualize any of the complaints or the outliers is vital today.
Well, how are adjusters doing with all these changes and all this technology and everything going on? I mean, what does the data tell us about this?
Yeah. So the AI and technology has been evolving to where you can create notifications to adjusters to help deal with this, to kind of set some, whether you want to call it a safety net or guardrails for the claim, where certain conditions are met that you can flag things. So like earlier, just talking about this increasing expectation being thrust on adjusters to do more and more, and this notion of, say, like a litigation predictive model. Having these notifications set up in a smart way is important because we want to avoid notification fatigue. So, for example, at any given day, an adjuster maybe has, say, somewhere between like 1 to 4. So we can't bombard them with dozens and dozens of do this, do that. Yeah. You've got to balance what the high priority, high impact interventions are. However, let's make sure that we do have that way that can supplement in between times when the team manager's in the file to help identify some of these things. One of the other interesting things is with the notifications, creating a way that the adjusters can interact with it, that maybe the business logic or the AI isn't getting it quite right, so that they can respond back to the notification. And we actually found this with one where we were flagging some things around reserves for permanency and understanding that, even though we had gone through some testing, there's still some more jurisdictional nuance that we needed to play into that. So we've been redesigning that one. So I guess the thing in all of this is, we got to be really intentional about making sure that any ways that we're using the AI and technology is actually a help to the adjusters, and we need to test that. And so another thing that the data has been telling us is that as we've been looking for these high impact interventions, what were already some really solid carrier audit scores have improved even more in recent times because of the support that we're giving to the adjusters. We've been getting some great feedback too from brokers, just as far as increasing quality. So I'm super excited, not only for the present, but what the future holds with AI and technology to keep helping out the adjusters.
Hey, Rob, this has been great. I really appreciate you being here and informing our listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you.